Challenging tenant talks made easy. 5+ tips to having those challenging conversations with tenants. Let's get into it. Right, guys, so if you are a landlord like myself, then 9 times out of 10, you will come to a point where you're going to have one of those type of conversations with one of your tenants. So let's dive into those oh so fun conversations and slightly nerve-wracking conversations that we all may need to have from time to time with our tenants. And guys, you know the conversations that I'm on about. Can we have a little chat about the overdue rent? Or can we have a discussion about smoking the weed substance that you are not meant to be smoking and that is outlined in your tenancy agreement and that evidently you are smoking in the property? Yes, those type of conversations. Now, I've been on various courses, some leadership courses and things like that in the past and throughout my professional life. So within these courses, there are a little bit of nuggets of information on how to have challenging conversations with people and how to communicate effectively. Yes, guys, I'm all about that personal growth. One of the key things that I've picked up from going on these courses and leadership courses in my professional life and also speaking to people in my professional life and throughout communication skills that I've picked up in general, how to deal with having those challenging conversations in these sticky situations. And guys, those skills have really come in handy, especially now since I've become a landlord, in how to sort of bring up those not so nice conversations and topics. How do we actually tackle these potentially awkward situations, conversations with finesse and grace? Let's get into it, guys. And there may be some points in here that might surprise you, so keep watching to the end. So my main point is to start off with empathy. So for every late payment or every overdue bit of rent, there's going to be a reason behind it. You never know unless you actually speak to someone what a person's actually going through. Your tenants are real people, so potentially we should be trying to find ways in which we can actually work with our tenants and speak to them and trying to get to the real reason as to why a particular payment is late, for example. There might be a deeper reason or deeper meaning behind that. And especially in these economic times, everyone's got their own set of challenging circumstances or challenges that they're wanting to overcome. So actually approaching every conversation with that human empathy and actually trying to find out the reason why, then you can come to some sort of agreement instead of charging in there straight away with, where's my rent? And it's trying to work with the tenant. That's what we're wanting to do. So basically just approach every conversation with understanding and empathy. So my next point is we want to be clear and direct as well. We want to make sure that we're getting to the bottom of as to why it is late. And also, quick disclaimer, as I said, everyone's got their own set of circumstances and it's not about beating that person down. It's about being clear, direct, but also using empathy, as I've already said, just to get to the bottom as to what the issue is behind that. And then once we know that, we can then work with the tenant to come to some solution. Really, you want to be keeping communication clear, concise, and to the point. And by the way, my name's Sabrina and I'm documenting my property investment journey here on YouTube. So I'll be showing you all the highlights and also all the mistakes as well that I've made, just so that you don't have to make them as well. So if you're liking the kind of content that I'm putting out, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. So please subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. And also, you might not need to have these type of conversations on a regular basis with tenants because the majority of tenants just want to get in and live happily and peacefully in a property and just have a nice place to live. So not all tenants, this is not going to be circumstances for all tenants. And this then leads me on to point 3, which is to set clear, respectful boundaries from the outset, from the start of the tenancy. And again, I've got all the videos on here as to my process and what I do when a tenancy is just starting and a tenant's just moving in. I actually provide them with a welcome pack and that details everything in there, and it just sort of backs the home how to rent guide that the government say that you have to give to a tenant when they're first moving into your property. And it also ties into the tenancy agreement as well. So it just ties those two things together, and that will help you then set clear sort of guidelines, boundaries, and in a respectful way and in a helpful way as to what the roles and responsibilities from yourself as a landlord and that of the tenant as well during the tenancy. And that can really sort of help you as a landlord so that potentially it's going to stop any issues arising and potentially help with tenants so that, you spent a lot of money on kitchen kitting out your investment property, or hopefully you have. You've spent quite a bit of money kitting that out for potential tenants to enjoy. So you want to make sure that your investment is protected, because like I said, there could be a big knock-on effect on your finances. And by the way, talking about your finances, if you do want somebody to speak to, like a mortgage broker or someone like that, then I do use Unbiased as well. That is almost like a matchmaking site for your finances. So they will literally put you in touch with somebody. If you're looking for a financial advice, they'll put you in touch with a financial advisor based on your needs and circumstances. So the link to Unbiased is in the description box below, and I do get a small commission from everyone who signs up, and you'll get your first month of advice for free. Thank you if you do sign up via this link. And also my mortgage broker's details are in the description box below as well. You can also contact her if you want any advice on obviously mortgages and things like that as well. So then this leads me on to my next point, and that is to offer solutions. Instead of pointing out the problem, maybe if you're slightly proactive and then you help find solutions with the tenant, and you work with the tenant so they can, for example, a payment plan if they are in arrears on the rent. That could help. If you come to some sort of agreement with the tenant on that, then that will help the tenant, and you're just being proactive, trying to work with the tenant to help get them out of the arrears on the rent. If they are smokers, then maybe offer alternative places for them to smoke, designated smoking areas in a different place, for example. Just things like that. Collaboration is the key. So really what we're talking about here is actually working with the tenant and coming up with proactive solutions to whatever problem or issue that might have arisen. And then this leads me on to my next point. Documentation as well is the key. So again, you are just sort of building up on those roles and responsibilities and defining those boundaries, and you've got something to refer back to as well, should you need to. And then that can sort of build up a plan or a solution that you have sort of worked through with the tenant. And then after the conversation or the plan that you have, after that you've got that plan in place, then just literally follow up with the conversation. Just follow that through and sort of go back and check and make sure that the issue has been addressed. Make sure again that you've got everything in writing with key dates of communication between you and your tenant documented as well. And as I said, I've got more videos on this. In particular, I've got a BRRR playlist, and as part of that, the rent video that touches in more detail on that as well. When you do follow up, that just ensures and it shows to your tenant that you are following through with any issues. So you're making sure that you are addressing any issues that have arisen, and that you've got agreed actions in place and dates for those actions to be carried out and fulfilled. It just shows that you are invested in the tenant, in their well-being, in their happiness, and being in harmony within your property. And just remember, communication is key. That is the glue that gels us all together and holds the tenant-landlord relationship together. And guys, watch this video next if you're looking for a more in-depth guide into how to rent. Maybe you're wanting to look into making these tenant welcome packs. It's all in this video next for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.